Hey there, friends! My name is Desiree, aka Momma Friendly, and I'm trying something a little different this year when it comes to our homeschooling. All of the main information is going to be found in the very first video of this series, which I'll link up here in case you've missed it. But the Cliff's Notes version is that I've been homeschooling my son his entire life. He's 9 years old and on the autism spectrum. He has nonverbal autism along with a few other medical diagnoses. My son also has a complete and absolute undying love for all things Disney, much like his mama. So this year I thought it would be fun to give our unit studies a little bit of a Disney twist. So every 2 weeks this year we're going to start a new unit study based on a Disney ride, movie, character, etc. We're going to be doing our academic work around that theme, but also at least one cooking activity and at least one art activity. So in these videos, I want to show you guys some of the things that we do to fit the theme, and I have a Pinterest board pertaining to each of the themes. And so along with every single one of these videos, there's going to be a link in the description box to that particular theme's Pinterest board. So make sure that you check those out because I am only showing you some of the things that we're getting into every week, but the board is going to have more activities and also activities for kids of different ages and different abilities. So with all that being said, let's get into our theme. Alright pallies, so as always I'm including some of the attractions that we can find all around the world that relate to our homeschool theme. And for Zootopia, unfortunately stateside there's not a whole lot to look for, but something that I found out that was super cool, I didn't know about this until I started researching for this video. Apparently there's not only a ride, but an entire dedicated land happening at Shanghai Disneyland for Zootopia. And so I always include a playlist that I link in the description box of all of my homeschool videos so that you can see all of the attractions and related news in their entirety if you'd like. So I am going to include this video, which includes information on that new Shanghai Disneyland area, along with a bunch of other related Disney World news. I don't usually do this, but it popped up again while I was searching for information on YouTube, and I found that you can actually buy or rent the Zootopia movie on YouTube to watch. So we do all of our Disney homeschool video watching on Disney Plus, but in case you don't have a subscription, you could always just rent the movie and watch it with your kiddos on YouTube. So this is also linked in the attractions playlist below. We have some more information here about the Shanghai Disneyland attractions. This video in particular is showing the details on a particular polar bear animatronic, and it's showing the design aspects and how it works. So if you have a kiddo that's interested in that sort of thing, this is a fun video for you guys to watch together. And lastly, this video is detailing the beginning of construction, the breaking ground at Shanghai Disneyland for that new Zootopia area. And this video is from September of 2020. I wasn't able to find any updated information, but it's good to see that even in the midst of the pandemic, they still moved forward and broke ground. That's very promising and very encouraging as far as this new land actually one day coming to fruition. It's been about a year and a half since this particular video was released, so I'd love to know where it stands now, you know, what the progress has been like. I haven't been able to find any updated info, like I said, but if you happen to know anything about it, I would love for you to let me know in the comments. I'm really excited about this week's recipe. Donuts seem to be something that we do a lot in our Disney homeschool videos, but for Zootopia, a big donut just made sense. And considering how important blueberries are to the final climactic scene of the movie, I thought it would be fun to make blueberry donuts. Of course, our recipe is going to be gluten and dairy free, and so these are going to be vegan as well. So for our ingredients, we need 3/4 of a cup of coconut milk mixed with a teaspoon of lemon juice, and this is going to be our vegan version of buttermilk. You also need 1 mashed banana. I actually keep ripe bananas frozen so that I always have them on hand for baking, and so I went ahead and thawed one out some and mashed it so it's ready to go. We need 3 tablespoons of melted coconut oil, a 1/2 cup of coconut sugar. I have my vanilla infused granulated sugar here, so this is what I'm going to use. And then the original recipe gives you a blend so that you can make your own gluten-free flour. They recommend a 1/4 cup of brown rice flour, a 1/2 cup of sorghum flour, a 1/4 cup of tapioca flour, and a 1/4 cup of quinoa or coconut flour. If you already have your preferred gluten-free flour blend, you're going to need a 1.25 cups total. Then you need 2.5 teaspoons of gluten-free baking powder. And lastly, for the donuts, you're going to need 3/4 cup of fresh blueberries. And if you want to make the optional glaze, you're going to need 1/3 cup more blueberries. You're also going to need 2 tablespoons of coconut milk and 1 to 2 cups of confectioner's sugar. That's the very finely ground sugar, so that you can make the glaze to go over the top of the donuts. I'm pretty sure I have enough sugar, so we might make the glaze as well. Let's get started. So the first thing we want to do is whisk our coconut milk and our lemon juice and just set it aside so that it starts to kind of curdle and form our quote-unquote buttermilk. Then we're going to mix our mashed banana, melted coconut oil, coconut milk mixture, and palm sugar, or regular sugar in my case, into a bowl so that it's all combined. Once that's ready, you're going to mix in your dry ingredients. So that's either all of the flours I mentioned to make your own blend, or your 1.25 cups of prepared gluten-free flour. And once that's all combined, we're going to fold our blueberries in last. We're going to pour everything into our donut cake pan. I'll have this particular one linked down below. And we're going to bake for 16 to 20 minutes at 350 degrees. To make our glaze, we're just going to mash up 1/3 cup of blueberries. We're going to put 2 tablespoons of milk in here, along with about 1.5 cups of confectioner's sugar. And that should give the glaze a nice consistency so that you can drizzle it over the top of your donuts, but it will harden to kind of a crackle when it's all set. I have such a super fun art activity in mind for this week. I got a bunch of different colored felt sheets. I'm going to have this particular set linked below because it came with just the right colors. And I'm kind of winging it. I don't quite have a template. I'm pretty sure that there's one on my Pinterest board, but I could not be bothered to print it, so I just kind of freehanded it. I'm making shapes out of the felt so that my son can help me cut them out, and we're going to make headbands so that we could dress up as Judy Hopps and Nick Wilde. Okay, it's a couple days later. I had to kind of reassess. I was hoping that we would just get construction paper and make a band to fit around our heads to make our headbands, but it turns out that A, we don't have a stapler, and B, both Kiddo and I, our heads are too big for construction paper to work. So I actually got fabric headbands, and I figured that this is gonna work better anyways because our ears are made of felt, so they're already kind of fabric and a little heavy, so hopefully this will support that better. I'm going to link these particular ones below. And we also got a glue gun. So I'm going to be doing this myself because I don't want to risk kiddo getting burnt as it is. I'm a little bit of a calamity when it comes to these things. So hopefully I won't get hurt too badly. But we're going to cut our shapes out of our felt. We're going to assemble them, or I guess I will with the glue gun. And then once that's dry, we're going to glue them to our headbands. And if all goes well, we will have our very own Judy and Nick costumes, I guess, by the time our art project is complete. Alright friends, that's gonna do it for our Zootopia themed homeschool. How adorable are these ears, by the way? They turned out absolutely perfect. Considering that we didn't have a template or anything and I kind of winged it as far as the placement, I think it turned out kind of perfect, and they're really, really comfortable. We could even wear this to the parks. We could wear this for a cosplay or a Disney bound. So, I mean, all things considered, luckily, nobody got hurt with the glue gun. But yeah, this was a super, super easy art activity, and we both really enjoyed it, and we really love the result. The recipe was also really, really easy, super, super yummy, a very pronounced banana flavor. So if you're not a fan of like banana bread, for example, then these might not be for you, but they were a great vegan option. They were easily made gluten-free. They were super, super tasty, and I can confirm that they freeze beautifully. I didn't want to have just like a half dozen donuts sitting around, so I just laid them flat on some parchment on a cookie sheet. I stuck them in the freezer so that they were each frozen individually. And once they were solid, I just scooped them off the parchment paper and into a Ziploc bag, and now they're ready for, I'm assuming, at least the next like 3 months. Not that they'll last that long, but just throwing that out there. This theme was a whole lot of fun. It has an extra special place in my heart because this was actually the very first movie that we ever took my son to see in the theaters. I'm not sure about now, but pre-COVID at least, once a month, the local movie theater had a sensory safe or sensory friendly showing of movies. So they wouldn't dim the lights all the way down. They would turn the volume down slightly. And it was kind of to be expected that you were gonna have kids wandering the aisles and probably chatting through the movie. But it was such a nice, like, low pressure environment to be able to introduce the concept of movie theaters to my son. We ended up watching a few movies that way, and I'm pretty sure that they were all Disney themed. What was the first Disney movie your kiddo saw in a movie theater? Let me know in the comments. And if you decide to do any of these activities or try out the recipe, let me know that in the comments too. As always, just because we're done with the theme doesn't mean the theme is done. Anytime that I run into a new recipe, craft, activity, worksheet that has to do with Zootopia, I will go and add it to the Pinterest board, which I have linked down below. So the board is going to be constantly evolving anytime you come back to it. And I do my best to always include activities that are suitable for kids of all ages and all abilities. And that goes for every one of my Disney homeschool themes. Now, we're about 30 some odd videos deep into this series, but if there's a particular movie or theme that I haven't done yet that you'd like to see, let me know, and who knows, you might see it on my channel soon. I want to thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope that you enjoyed it, and if you did, I hope that you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you would subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching, and see you real soon!